Keep your head up, right? Keep your head up. That's right. Whenever this life is up, you gotta fight. Listen, it'll make sense later. Believe it, we're celebrating the 30th anniversary of living single. I know, right? I used to watch this show all of the time as a kid, and I love seeing women who looked like my family on the screen. I would see Khadijah run Flavor magazine, and that really inspired me and showed me that I could be a media mogul, and Maxine be a fierce lawyer, and her entanglement with Kyle, and Sinclair and Overton's really funny romance, and Regine's bougie behind with all of her stylish wigs and looks. It was a show. Can you believe it debuted on August 22nd, 1993 and ran for 5 seasons? The show creator Yvette Lee Browser is currently on a press run and talking about what she set out to achieve. And I know that there are so many people who love the show Friends. Well, I hate to bust your bubble, but you should really thank Living Single for that, because it is and has long been known as the whitewashed version of Living Single. So as far as I'm concerned, Yvette created 2 of the biggest shows. You're welcome. Speaking of black groups that made an impact, the Fugees are reuniting, and yes, that includes Lauryn Hill. I saw her at One Music Fest last year, and it was fabulous. It was so amazing. When I tell you she put on a show, I know so many people are wondering, was she late and how did she do? She actually addressed all of that at the concert, and no, she wasn't late, all right? And that late narrative is just, I think there's just way more to it. I mean, outside of sometimes, yes, she is a little late. But anyways, they are celebrating 25 years of the miseducation of Lauryn Hill. And let me just tell you, that is one of my favorite albums of all time. I play it all of the time, still to this day. All right, so the entire gang will reunite during the October and November dates of her international tour. Of course, she will be including songs from her iconic album. Fun hip hop fact, y'all know it's the 50th year of hip hop. We're celebrating all year long. Did you know that it was the first hip hop record to win Album of the Year at the Grammys? It also made Hill the first woman to win 5 or more Grammys in a single night. The album came just 1 year after the Fugees split up. And if you're interested in the tour, it kicks off September 8th. This next story. Okay, do you all remember the infamous Fire Festival with the tents outside and the poorly made sandwiches? Well, the man who founded it is out of prison and says he is determined to do it right this time. Billy McFarland spent 4 years in prison after he pleaded guilty to wire and bank fraud. This attempted music festival all went down in the Bahamas back in 2017. Y'all, these attendees paid thousands of dollars for the chance to meet celebrities, eat great food, and vacation on the island. I bet you they didn't expect any tents. And it's safe to say at this point that it didn't really go down quite like that. Celebrities backed out because of the disorganization, and fans say they were cheated out of their money. Well, fast forward to now, and McFarland says he is planning Fire Festival 2. He wants it to take place in the Caribbean in 2024. And on social media, he said he sold the first batch of tickets, and they allegedly sold out. He also says the revenue from the sales will be held in escrow until a final date is announced. Child, you know the saying, fool me once, shame on you. Now put the camera back on me, Lamont. Fool me twice, shame on me. Okay, on to some more serious news. A black FedEx driver who was chased and shot at by 2 white men while delivering packages in Mississippi no longer has a job. Well, an attorney for DeMontario Gibson says his client was fired for not accepting a part-time position with the company. And yes, that has been confirmed. Foolishness. A non-courier job was offered to Gibson in July. And last week, a mistrial was declared in the case of the 2 men accused of shooting at Gibson in Brookhaven. Now, originally, the 2 men, a white father and a white son, of course, had been charged with attempted first-degree murder in this 2022 incident. Now, Gibson's attorney says the company was insensitive and tone deaf in their handling of the case and sent Gibson to work the same route the day after the shooting. Wow. Listen, thank goodness Gibson wasn't physically injured. He's been on workers' comp leave and has received therapy, thank goodness. Prosecutors have said they will retry the case, and I say, as they should. Prosecutors are asking an Ohio judge to dismiss all charges against the black truck driver who was attacked by a police dog during a traffic stop while surrendering. 23-year-old Jadarius Rose led police on a pursuit after failing to stop at an intersection on July 4th. Well, the prosecuting attorney for Rose says there appears to be no evidence Rose was fleeing immediately after the commission of a felony. The investigation continues into whether or not Rose's actions deserve misdemeanor charges. And by the way, the Ohio K-9 officer who unleashed the dog was fired for allegedly talking about the incident repeatedly with family and colleagues, all while lying to the police chief about sharing those very sensitive details. Okay, y'all, it's time for LaPorsche's Women in Sports segment. And just so we are clear, I am not a sports reporter, okay? The only time I speak about sports is when it intersects with culture and or if it features women. First up, Asia Wilson of the defending WNBA champion Las Vegas. Next up, and LaPorsche doesn't know much about sports but supports the women's segment, we have Hawaii-born Laluga Tausaga Collins took home the gold in the women's discus at the 2023 World Athletic Championships in Budapest this week. This is the track and field event where they throw the disc-like object very, very far. Now listen, don't judge me. I had to Google that, so I'm just trying to make sure I inform the people. The gold medalist won with the huge throw of 69.49 meters, beating her own personal best. You better. She told the media, and I quote, "I have all of the feels and no words. It's amazing. Go girl." All right, y'all, I was so sick last week. I never get sick, and it's like my body completely crashed on me. I lost my voice, I had the chills, I caught the flu. It was horrid, and it's not even fall yet. But health officials are already bracing for 3 major viruses that may all start spreading at the same time here in the States. However, this year they are claiming to have a new weapon to fight against these respiratory illnesses. All right, the Advocate Channel's Mandy Gaither has more on what health experts say you should do before cold and flu season. I wish they would have told me this before last week.
Excuse me.
It's another potential triple threat of viruses: the flu, COVID-19, and RSV. All 3 may hit the U.S. together this fall, but this year there's a vaccine for all of them. When to get them varies based on age.
If you're under the age of 60, before Halloween, you should get your flu shot. Late September for COVID, that's when that new booster is expected to come out. It is not an exact match for what is currently dominantly circulating in the country, but it's still good protection, especially for people who are vulnerable.
The U.S. is already seeing an uptick in COVID-19 cases, although it's still unclear exactly how many cases, as fewer tests are being taken. There are patches of the country in red, with a more significant increase in hospitalizations, a few states with numbers going down, and others staying stable. Still, COVID-19 hospital admissions are lower than in years past.
The numbers are going up, but August of this year right now is about a quarter of what August of last year was.
The U.S. Centers for Disease Control and Prevention say if you test positive for COVID-19, isolate for 5 days. On day 6, isolation can end if symptoms improve. The agency does recommend masking until there are 2 negative tests taken 48 hours apart.
It's a little complicated, but really the first 5 days, that's when you're most infectious. That's when you should stay home.
For Health Minute, I'm Mandy Gaither.
Living, yeah, single. I cannot get the theme song out of my head. All right, listen, see you all later, my amazing people. Bye.